Hello, Lucky with another video for Ragnarok farming. Today we're going to be farming fruit bombs for the genetic to make, and we are going to grab all the ingredients, starting with detonators. So to start off, we will go to the warper, we will go to the dungeons, we will go to the Byland dungeon, and we'll go to the next floors. And this is the floor we want to be on. So as you can see, I've got myself configured for maximum farming with a cubic harvester hat, giving me gift boxes and all of its +7 items, and 2 red lanterns that give me cards for beating plant monsters and fish monsters. Those cards that I have in there will give me box of gloom and box of drowsiness. So we're killing those marine spheres there, and we're getting those detonators as the core component for our fruit bombs that we'll be making later on. Make sure you turn the screen in parts like this to see if there's anyone hiding around. Sometimes the marine spheres are still in one spot because they do not move. And those hiders will always spawn in the same spot on this map. You just have to ignore them. They don't drop very much. And just keep farming in this map until you got a whole bunch. So one thing I almost forgot is if you type in this little message I'm going to type in here, you will get the ability to count the items that are being farmed. So something like that will give you something like this. And then you just continue farming. Usually you want to do that right at the start, so you don't have to waste time with entering the extra number at the end. So we're almost at 500 here, which is how much I was going for, 500 bombs. Once you get to that number, it will give you a little achievement leveling up type sound and effect. Once you have that, you can just go on to the next ingredient. So one thing I almost forgot to grab in this one was the cactus needles. They are required for one type of bomb, and to get there you just go to the warper, you go to kill castles, pay on castles, and then the bright arbor if you have this option. And then you just go to the Muka map, which is this map with the green cactuses. There's 2 of them, but this one is a lot easier to get to when you use this. As you can see, I don't know how to backslide very well, but once you get there, you just farm like you would any other ingredient. They're pretty easy to kill. I used my shadow chaser on the previous video to do this, and it turned out pretty well. Cactus ingredient needles will drop at 100%, so if I loot them, I can get more with Snatcher. So the next ingredient we are going to grab is pineapples. They come from the parasite monster, which is easiest to get to by going to Beach Dungeon 3 and then teleporting to the bottom right corner of the map. Once there, you just exit to the right and go up to the northeast. Once there, just farm the parasites. They do have a little bit of health. Make sure that you have something that can see them pretty easy, like turn your map, or I use my Sarah, as they often hide within the trees. Pineapples will drop at a very high rate and will be pretty easy to get. Next we'll be farming melons and coconuts. To get there, you have to go to the same map that was previous to the pineapples and go down 1 map. So melons and coconuts have a pretty low drop rate compared to others in this list, so make sure you have your counting item list on to make sure you know how many you have. I'm going for 100 of each. Melons will drop more than coconuts. There's also a monster you'll run into rarely on this map. He's called the Mobster. He's a demi-human. He is just a simple 10k I think HP monster who will also drop melons and coconuts, so make sure you take care of him and get his other rare drops while you're at it. For this whole setup I'm using a scalpel and green operation coat to get the alcohol and immortal hearts from the fruit monster Galapalago. The next ingredient we are grabbing is mold powder. I already had a few to start with, but we are going from Einbrock, one map north, and from there one map east, which is actually in the top right corner of that map. When we get there, the monsters we'll be farming are Demon Pungus and Noxious, which is that little orange ball there. I forgot this is the start of my farming, but make sure you have some sort of elemental weapon as they are ghost type 3 and will take very little damage from neutral. Fortunately I have a holy type mace that allowed me to use that cart tornado at the start in order to push them away. Actually I was using my scalpel and a holy ball, so my attack wasn't very high. That red one, however, will take less damage and have more health on top of it, so he will be harder to kill. Now let's move on to the next ingredient. The next ingredient we are grabbing quite a bit of. We're grabbing 1,200 of these. We are grabbing gunpowder. Gunpowder is another core ingredient in the bombs. This guy is buying them at a decent price, but we're not going to sell any to him today, and we just gotta go farm from pitmen in the Einbeck dungeons, I believe. The only ingredient I don't have on here is sticky mucus, but you can get that almost anywhere. I grabbed it from the orc warriors and orc zombies in the orc dungeon. The easiest place, as there are many monsters in there and they almost all drop sticky mucus. So my minstrel here has int, dex, and luck. He's part of my brewing setup. The int is not necessary for making bombs, but as there aren't many more points to put into dex and luck in this, it's just efficient to have it set up once and have it permanently set up with a special feature that we have in NovaRO where we can save our builds. And with that I have him buffed by my partied Archbishop, and then I will invite the genetic to the party to get buffed as well. So I'm just alt-tabbing to do this to get them set up to the party. The reason you don't want him buffed previously is because it will change how the formula works on how much buffs he can actually get, and that will change his total overall stats. Accept the party, and then the next step. So my minstrel will now use marionette control on the genetic and move just a little bit so he can start moving, and then he will sit down so he doesn't move again. So now I will apply the stats to my buffed, well, slightly buffed genetic, and with that I'll use the formula of this, which is just a bunch of dex and luck and some job levels, so I'll max those out and put the rest of the points into strength so I can carry more and make it easier to hold more bombs if I ever needed to. With that I will buff from there, from the Archbishop, and the Archbishop will give me the rest of the stats I need to make these bombs much more efficient, I guess. Once I have the Gloria on, I can start brewing. And it won't take very long to brew 500 bombs, which is what I'm doing here. 100 of each type of fruit bomb. Create bomb level 2 allows me to do 10 at a time, and 10 at a time often results in an extra 1 or 2. Just make sure you do not move out of the marionette range, or else you will lose that big stat bonus and you might not make as many as you could have. And with that, that has been the video on how to make fruit bombs in Ragnarok. much more efficiently than you could have normally, and all of the ingredients farmed. Thank you and goodbye.